Tyson feared this fighter so much that he refused to fight him.
Hey, listen up here. They may call you Kid Dynamite. You mess with me, I'll put your fuse out. Hey, our son in blood, punk. Where you at?
This fighter turned the face of the legendary Ernesto Husted into a medium rare steak. Bob Sapp is a real hurricane who went through the world of martial arts, crushing everyone who stood in his way. And in addition to the ring, he often starred on the sets of Hollywood movies. Many people know him as the most worthless fighter, but in his prime years, he tore to shreds everyone who entered the ring with him. And today, we're going to show you some of his most ferocious knockouts. Get your tea on and your cookies ready. Here we go. Bob Sapp began his ascent to the peak of kickboxing in 2002, taking the self-speaking nickname, The Beast. And in one of his first fights, he faced Mr. Perfect. The Dutch legend, Ernesto Husted used to eat newcomers like Sapp for breakfast, and if Bob was the beast in this ring, Husted was going to act as a tamer. From the start of the fight, the fierce American pounced on his opponent like a berserker. But Husted decided to use his years-honed skills, and in a real meat grinder started in the ring. And after Ernesto decided to show the American a couple of chopping low kicks and began to treat him like a soccer ball. The former American football player got angry, and he decided to beat up the Dutchman. Angry American decided not to lower the degree, and immediately after the break continued the fight, turning Ernesto's face into Dutch cheese. A year after his victory over legendary Husted, Sapp entered the ring like a bull in a corrida, ready to take on the horns of anyone who dared to challenge him. And his next fight was another matador hoping to tame Bob. His compatriot Kimo Leopoldo was fully fired up for the fight. From the first seconds of the fight, it might have seemed like a new episode of Tom and Jerry, because Kimo started running from Bob all over the ring, but Leopoldo wasn't agile enough to dodge Sapp's lightning-fast punches. Despite this, Kimo was able to shake the unbreakable Titan. After that, he was sure to take advantage of the situation and started pounding the big guy. However, to hunt such a carcass, more energy was needed, and Kimo didn't have enough gas tank capacity for that. But he was lucky when the bell rang, and he had time to regain his strength. Kimo continued the fight, but Bob was fed up with it. And skillful Sapp, like a real chef, with a few sharp blows stunned his opponent, who fell to the floor like a piece of meat. The Iron Mike Tyson himself was watching the fight from the audience. Sapp decided to take advantage of the presence of such a legendary guest and decided to challenge him right over there. Thus, Bob put on a show both during and after the fight. Over the following year, Sapp smashed all of his opponents. He was like a formidable volcano ready to erupt. His punches came like an avalanche, and no one could resist the onslaught. Sapp became a true monster of the ring. His presence was scary, as if a wild beast had actually entered the ring. The next brazen man to challenge Bob was Akebono, an overweight samurai from the land of the rising sun. Apparently, this fight was not supposed to be for the championship belt, but for a bucket of KFC. From the very beginning, Puffy decided to smash Sapp's internal organs, but the beast withstood the onslaught of this cholesterol mutant. And then the Japanese showed why his homeland is constantly experiencing earthquakes. Bob made it clear to Akebono that he'd better go fight against the obesity. The ruthless American decided to finish this fight with a final touch. His punch was like a brushstroke to complete the picture. Each consecutive entry into the ring was like the beginning of a storm. Every spectator froze in anticipation of a beating, while the opponents realized that a storm of powerful punches and unpredictable maneuvers awaited them. The next upstart was from the land of the cold and fierce bears, Alan Karayev. From the first seconds of the fight, Alan showed Bob an arsenal of high-level punches and techniques for which Khabib Nurmagomedov would become famous in the future. But the deadly American had lit a fire in his eyes. Not a second passed as the naive Russian was already between hammer and anvil. And then Alan missed the fatal outburst of anger and instantly went to the underworld. While Bob was ass-whooping his opponent, Alan had flashbacks of his brutal Soviet upbringing. Bob was like Hulk, who had just stepped off the pages of a comic book straight into the ring. Sapp's energy and passion for fighting resembled ancient gladiators fighting for glory in the arena. The next point on the kickboxing map was the lively streets of Lagos and the sunny beaches of Nigeria, where Bobby Ologun was waiting for him. Before the fight, Ologun apparently had seen the movie Catch Me If You Can and was running away from Sapp in the same way. Dennis Rodman's twin brother decided to continue showing his athletic skills, but the American still caught up with him. Sapp pinned his opponent to the floor and began to hammer his head into the ring like a nail. The obnoxious American resembled a Nemean lion tearing his prey to shreds, but the referee decided to stop the predator. The opponents began to realize that each of Bob's blows in the ring could be the last chord in this exciting symphony of power. But something went wrong, and at some point the glossy record of the murderous American lost its luster. There were so many rumors that Sapp started selling and staging his fights, but apparently there were some people who believed in their own strength, or they didn't have the money to buy a win. And so an opponent came up against him who was to be a boost from the bottom at which Bob was. It was an aged and small fighter that the American was supposed to make a punching bag out of. But in the fight, it turned out to be the opposite. The giant fell to the floor more often than Biden. The old man had no problem humiliating the giant in front of the audience. After this fight, fans and supporters were finally convinced that Sapp was nothing more than a punching bag. MMA continued to give him title fighters, perhaps in the hope that Bob would return to his former glory. But during the last years of his career, the American decided to continue to improve his financial situation. So Bob Sapp went from hero to zero. He could scare legendary fighters, although he ended his career, to put it mildly, unsuccessfully. Bob may not have been one of the best in the world of martial arts, but he had a pretty good career on the screens of Hollywood. Thanks for watching our video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel.